I just watched her have that realization that really money is not the goal. When you get around people that expect greatness from you, mediocrity is no longer an option. I was actually born deader than a doornail.
His name is Russ. He bought that mic, and now he's got a podcast show.
Did that come from your family, from your upbringing, or was it after that?
I would say that it probably a little bit of both.
Okay.
My mom is as nose to the grindstone as you've ever met. I mean, she grew up on a farm. She was one girl with 6 brothers. So that gives you any kind of inclination about the work ethic and drive that she was
I
forced to
bet
have.
it sounds like she might be tough.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. She's 4'10", and I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I am more scared of her than any 7'3", 300-pound man ever in my life. And
Perfect.
she was rough on us, as a kid. Like, it wasn't this easy, gentle parenting thing. She'd smack you with anything she could get her hands on if she felt like you were out of line. Could be a kitchen spoon, a spatula,
The wooden spoon, man, that was the worst.
all day, every day, and so kind of seeing her, I mean, and she worked, 30 years almost for the church. And her backstory is interesting too. I mean, she was very successful graphic design artist working at a third-party firm, making a ton of money, working with high net worth clients. And she ended up making a switch. She just felt a calling to go and work for a church, take less money. And I just watched her have that realization that really money is not the goal, right? It's life and balance and being able to enjoy and be happy when you
So what
wake
is
up.
the goal? If money's not the goal, what's the goal?
For me personally, it's
No, for your mom. You're talking about your mom.
spend more time with her family. That was the goal. She wanted to be able to
Her more money doesn't satisfy her. So
Didn't
what did satisfy her?
satisfying her was really what she was able to do for the church and pour back into that community. I mean, she was
Okay.
the graphic design artist, their communications director. I mean, she was essentially like the number 2 at that church, making sure that everything behind the scenes went well and smoothly, and that our head pastor had great services, great lyrics up on the wall, lighting's all perfect. I mean, she was the kind of orchestrator behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And that's really what she found passion in, putting on the big Christmas programs and the Easter programs. She was able to pour herself and her creativity into that. And I think that's really what she valued most, is just giving back to a community that gave back to her.
So graphic design background, she had good jobs with that, but that didn't satisfy her the way running the organizational part of the church did.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So I think that's tagged that, Brian. That's kind of a golden nugget that I studied advertising in college. My daughter is at USC right now studying advertising. I wanted a full-on business degree, so I majored in marketing, but I minored in advertising because I love the graphic design side of it. And I ended up being a residential designer, designing houses, and not houses, but additions and kitchens and augmentations to houses. And I found that very satisfying.
Yes.
But I can see, I know people, and I can see the joy and satisfaction that could come from that. It's just interesting how we're driven in different ways. So that's cool. So she was able to follow her passion and have the freedom to, manage the church functions and the church operations.
Yeah.
What was your dad doing?
Dad was, he was full-time in the Air Force before I was born. But then when I
Okay.
was born, he made a shift, because I have an older brother. We're 18 years apart. I was an accident. My mom calls me her miracle baby, because she wasn't supposed to have any more kids. I mean, she had a thyroid disease, and the doctor was like, listen, if you have another kid,
Yeah.
you're going to die. The kid's going to die. Sidebar, I was actually born deader than a doornail. I had umbilical cord wrapped around my neck,
Ooh.
whole 9 yards, was blue when I came out. Like, my dad has shared the story with me now as an adult, and he's like, son, I didn't think there was any way. And so
Wow.
it took them 10, 15 minutes, and they brought me back in, and I was breathing and screaming and crying. But again, my dad didn't get to spend a lot of time with my brother, because he's on planes, he's flying all across different countries. And so he missed that piece with my brother and really wanted to capitalize on that when I was born. So he retired from the Air Force, still decided to work out on the Air Force Base in Charleston as a retired civilian, doing crew taskings, putting crews together, sending them on their missions without him actually having to be on the plane and out of the country. So was able to spend a lot more time with my dad as a young child than my brother was, which was awesome. He also ran his own business. He had a driving school that
Okay.
partnered with our high school. And so I got to kind of watch a little bit of that entrepreneurial journey when I was younger on him running his own business. And
So was he active in the Air Force on active duty and had the driving school at the same time?
No, once he retired from the Air Force and
I
he
got
was still working out there, like I said, as a retired civilian, he also started the driving school to kind of supplement some income. It was funny because
Right. So he was a civilian contractor for the Air
exactly.
Force.
Yeah,
And
so
then he had the driving school
had the
business.
driving school business as
Okay.
well, and
Okay.
it was called Magnum Driving School because he looks just like Magnum PI. I mean, if I had a picture of him and Tom Selleck, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I'm serious. Yeah,
I love it.
There's a core memory of my life as a young child. We were downtown on the Battery at a wedding reception, where the big Battery houses, just beautiful. Right? And he's standing on the balcony and people are, tourists are walking by and they're pointing and screaming and yelling. He's eating it up, dude. He's up there waving. Oh, hey, everybody. How you doing? Yeah. It's me. It's Tom Selleck.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so he named it Magnum Driving School and he ran that business for probably 15, 20 years. And ended up ultimately just selling out of that and just staying in the Air Force as a retired contractor there.
So you have had the entrepreneurial bug, and I feel like you're kind of, and I did this for a long time. I was an entrepreneur, meaning I was in an organization that I didn't own, but just like you're selling 32 cars in a month. It's ridiculous to sell 32 cars in a month. And my mentor would say, let's be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's do ridiculous things like sell 32 cars in a month. Where you're an entrepreneur, you have the support system of the inventory and the finance and everything else, but they're also not putting the reins to you to slow you down. I mean, it's like, go dude, sell 32 cars.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that for people listening or watching, that can be a really important lesson. If you can function as an entrepreneur within a powerful organization like Consistent Capital, what you're doing now, to me is a similar form of, because we're going to have Whit on soon who, will talk about how the whole thing runs, but you're able to just run.
Absolutely.
I mean, Whit's not going to slow you down.
No.
Go as hard as you can go, and then we'll worry about how we're going to deliver. You were delivering cars, now you're delivering loan products. So
I think it's important too to, for people listening to be around a leadership team that doesn't slow you down, because like
right.
when you get around people who expect greatness from you, like
Yes.
mediocrity is no longer an option. Like the
Right.
pressure makes you have to get to an elite level, and also it improves everyone around you. I can't remember the exact statistics, but I think it's, if I'm sitting next to a high level operator who is doing things at an elite level, I'm like 30% more likely to increase my production versus, or 15% more likely to increase production versus if I'm around a low level, somebody who just doesn't care, mediocrity is the standard, I'm 30% more likely to lower my production.
So don't hang out with the furniture.
No, do not hang out with the furniture. Like I said, when you get around people that expect greatness from you, mediocrity is no longer an option, and
Yeah.
it levels the company up. It brings everybody up with you. And I think I've had those opportunities all throughout my life, even being a lot porter. I was making $10 an hour, but something my mom and dad instilled in me was, the old Matthew McConaughey, if you're going to do it, don't half-ass it. Do it.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your title is, doesn't matter what you're getting paid. And in the car world, for those that don't know, lot porters are kind of like the guy that goes and gets the head sales guy lunch, right? Like you're just doing mediocre jobs, and that wasn't good enough for me. Like I
like Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman from
Yeah.
Nick Offerman's one of my favorite comedians, and he'll say, don't ever half-ass anything. Put your whole ass into everything. And his delivery is so much better than mine, but that just kills me. It was like, yes, I mean, don't half-ass anything. Put your whole ass into it.
You have to. You
And
need to take
it makes,
ownership.
it makes such a difference.
Yeah, you take ownership. You know, I took ownership
Yeah.
as a lot porter and was able to garnish the trust of my management team, where they knew that when Cole showed up, the lot was going to be tight, everything's in its place,